All right, welcome to Big Time Basketball, the basketball segment of the Fantasy Fanatics Podcast. I'll be your host once again, James, and I'm joined once again by Nate. And welcome back, Terry. Hey, Terry, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Thank you for having me back, as always. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, man. Let's just hop in and talk about some basketball. Today we'll be recapping Sunday's games. No more fantasy pickups because most fantasy seasons are finished now. So congrats to everyone who won their leagues from our pickups. You know, we always provide high-end deep league and shallow league pickups. So you probably should have won your league if you were listening to our podcast. So yeah, and then we'll just take a look at some general news around the league. We'll talk about some of the potential playoff matchups and I guess where everyone is in the standings. And then we'll just move into Monday's preview of all the games. So let's just hop right into it. Let's take a look at some of Sunday's games. And looking at the first game, the Miami Heat beat the Boston Celtics 130 to 124. It's a big win for Miami. Just looking at some of the stats here, Jimmy Butler, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. Bam Adebayo, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Duncan Robinson, 22 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Kendrick Nunn, 12 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Trevor Ariza, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 steals for him. While Tyler Hero adds 12 points to his 3 rebounds. And I'll start with you, Terry. Just looking at this Miami team, they're playing really well right now. Are they a pretty serious threat going into the playoffs?
Most definitely. At the start of the year, they probably were a little bit sluggish just due to the fact that they did have an extended playoff run coming from last year. So they just needed to get that playoff hangover a little bit out of their system, or how I should say, their final hangover out of their system. Having said that, now that guys like Jimmy Butler are healthy, Bam Adebayo is playing at 100%, and guys like Tyler here are finally getting adjusted to being on the bench instead of being in the starting lineup, I feel like this team is going to be another dark horse coming into this upcoming playoff series. Gordon Dragic just needs to fix his shot a little bit, just because he went 3 for 10, I believe, in this game. But aside from that, you should be aware the Miami Heat is always.
Yeah, for sure. And just looking at Boston, they've been pretty inconsistent, but they didn't have Jaylen Brown in this game. But looking at some of their stats, Evan Fournier, 30 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists. I think that's probably his best game as a Celtic. And then Jason Tatum, 29 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Marcus Smart, 16 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. Kemba Walker, 18 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists. And Aaron Nesmith, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. And Tristan Thompson adding 2 points to go with his 12 rebounds. And Nate, just getting to you on the Celtics, they've been very inconsistent lately. What can we see from them going forward into the playoffs?
It's going to be hard to say because as of right now, like if they started the playoffs like immediately, they'd have to face the Nets. And this kind of inconsistency is not going to be something you want trying to face Nets.
Yeah, I mean, both Miami and Boston have been inconsistent, but it really looks like Miami's getting it together a little bit more. And just speaking of a team that's really gotten it together, the New York Knicks beating the LA Clippers 106 to 100. Big game from the Knicks. Just looking at some of their stats, Reggie Bullock, 24 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Julius Randle, 14 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists. RJ Barrett, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Derrick Rose, 25 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. And those were their double-digit scores in this game. And this time I'll start with you, Nate. This Knicks team has really surprised everyone, including myself this season. They're in the 4th seed in the East. So what's in store for them going forward?
I mean, anything can basically happen for them at this point. I was as surprised as everyone else because I guess we've been so used to the Knicks being bad every year. But I guess in terms of defense, it's kind of allowed them to compete with almost any team.
Yeah, it's amazing. And before I get into the Clippers stats, Terry, I just wanted to ask you, their lineup was mostly healthy in this game, but they still lost to the Knicks. Do you think this was an off night, or do you think there's some serious questions with this Clippers team?
feel like it's just an off night for the LA Clippers at this point. If you look at the box score, Kawhi Leonard only shot 34 from the field, and Paul George on the other hand, even though he shot 40, his shot from three was, I believe, 2 for 9. And the guys around them, like uh, Rajon Rondo, Patrick Beverly, Von Zubac, they weren't, how should I say, more consistent in their scoring output or just their role in general. This was just a better game for the New York Knicks, and I feel like a lot of people will be sleeping on the Knicks just due to the fact that, as Nathan said earlier, they were just horrible for the whole entire decade last year or last decade.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, just looking at some of the stats you're talking about for the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, 29 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Paul George, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Reggie Jackson, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. And Nick Batum, 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. So yeah, they, like you said, didn't get a lot of support scoring. I know Marcus Morris, his points have been down a little bit lately. DeMarcus Cousins isn't even getting 20 minutes, so he's not really a serious threat in terms of points. Yeah, I feel like that the Clippers, it might have just been a one-off game. I feel like when Ibaka comes back, that should help them. But yeah, it's just going to be tougher and tougher for them going forward, especially when they get into the playoffs. But speaking of a team trying to get into the playoffs, the New Orleans Pelicans beating the Charlotte Hornets 112 to 110. This game was the battle of the Ball brothers, LaMelo and Lonzo. And although LaMelo had the better game, Lonzo's team came up on top. So just looking at some of the Pelican stats here, Eric Bledsoe, 24 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists. Lonzo Ball, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. Nickel Alexander Walker, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Jackson Hayes, 18 points, 8 rebounds. Najee Marshall, 13 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. James Johnson, 17 points, 8 rebounds. And Willie Hernan Gomez with 9 points, 16 rebounds, and 1 assist. So, Terry, I'll start with you here. It really looks like the Pelicans are trying to get into that play-in spot.
There's no doubt about that, just due to the fact that this team is on the outside looking in, and their coach is just trying to light a fire under these guys. Guys like Lonzo Ball and I believe Jackson Hayes, who are the more vets of this team, will be trying to lead these guys into that 10th seed. And the Spurs are on the ropes right now, in that 10th seed right now. So having said that, we just hope that this Pelicans team can prove people wrong with the absence of Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, with those two out of the lineup, I guess that probably decreases their chances of getting the playoff spot. But I guess what you saw from this game, I guess it is possible.
It is possible, but then, as you said earlier, or just a second ago, that the possibility does go down a lot. Brandon Ingram is their best scorer, and Zion Williamson just manages to find different ways to score against some of the big men in this league today.
Yeah, for sure. And just looking at some of Charlotte's stats here, PJ Washington, 14 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists. So you got a double-double. Terry Rozier, 43 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. So big game for him. LaMelo Ball, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. And Cody Zeller was 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist. And Nate, I wanted to ask you, the Charlotte team's just barely holding on to that 8th seed. I guess, are they in danger of dropping out? And I guess they really look like they need Gordon Hayward back.
I mean, they're one game away from the Wizards. So if the Wizards have like at least two more like really good games and the Hornets keep slipping a little bit, they might actually lose that 8th seed.
And I guess they really need Gordon Hayward back at this point.
Yeah, hopefully he's healthy enough to start.
Yeah, I know he's been one of the more bright spots for that team this season. I feel like they definitely need him to come back. He just sort of spreads out the scoring a little bit. And yeah, just moving on to the next game, it's pretty big blowout here. The Dallas Mavericks beating the Cleveland Cavaliers 124 to 97. Big game for a lot of Dallas players here. Tim Hardaway Jr., 25 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Josh Richardson, 20 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Luka Doncic, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Dwight Powell, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. And Jalen Brunson, 13 points, 1 rebound, 7 assists. And just getting to you, Nate, about the Mavericks. No Porzingis in this game, but they still make quick work of this Cleveland team.
Yeah, I guess it looks like they don't really need Porzingis to beat a team like the Cavs. I mean, the Cavs are like 14th in the East, so they haven't been playing their best.
Yeah, it just looks like not much has gone right for this Cleveland team this year. Just looking at their stats, Colin Sexton, who has been their best player, had 24 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. Broderick Thomas, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Damian Dotson, 10 points with 2 assists. And Mifondu Kabengele, I don't even know how you say his name. 14 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. I probably just butchered that. But anyways, Isaac Okro, 12 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist for them. And Kevin Love only had 8 points to go with his 11 rebounds and 3 assists. Yeah, it's been a tough year for Cleveland. I don't know, Terry, is there hope for them next season?
It's just a rebuilding team at this rate in the Eastern Conference. I mean, you have guys that you were just pronouncing that are on, how should I say, this rotation. Having said that, Garland is out with an injury. So this did affect their chances of possibly making this blow a little bit significantly closer. But having said that, they just lost, 10 straight. So you can write them off for this year, but they just need to start drafting some prospects, whether it's in on the wings or in the front court. This is going to be a long process for whoever's the GM down in Cleveland.
Yeah, they just really have not played to their full potential. I know they had a great start to the year, but it just really fizzled out at this point. And speaking of another team that's really had it fizzle out, and that's the Orlando Magic. They lost 128-96 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And just looking at some of the stats from Minnesota here, Karl Anthony Towns, 27 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. D'Angelo Russell also with 27 points to go with his 6 rebounds and 8 assists. Ricky Rubio, 18 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Anthony Edwards, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, double-double. And I mean, Terry, just looking at this Minnesota team, it looks like they do have a bright future ahead of them if they can stay healthy.
They do. Just due to the fact that D'Angelo Russell is a little bit injury prone, you're not always going to see this starting lineup all the time. So they might have to develop more depth at the point guard position or draft another player if necessary. Having said that, you did mention that the future is bright. You got guys like Anthony Edwards, Jared Vanderbilt, Josh OKG, I believe his name is. You just hope that they can develop more chemistry and they can be slept on eventually to become maybe a 6th seed, 5th seed, maybe even 8th seed.
Yeah, for sure. And just looking at Orlando in this game, Dwayne Bacon, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Maurice Wagner, 11 points, 5 rebounds. Cole Anthony, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Ignis Brazdekis, I can't pronounce these names. I'm just butchering them today. 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. And then RJ Hampton, 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. No Wendell Carter in this game, no Terrence Ross. Nate, just looking at this team, I think there's a long rebuild ahead for this Orlando Magic team.
Yeah, things are probably going to be looking kind of bleak for a bit, but hopefully the GM kind of plays things right and they'll be able to do a nice rebuild.
Yeah, for sure. Trading Vucevic was one of the I guess pretty much the kickstart to their rebuild. And then, yeah, just trading away other pieces like Aaron Gordon and others. Yeah, looks like that team's going to be in for a long rebuild. And speaking of Vucevic, his team, the Chicago Bulls, got a big win on Sunday, 108-96 over the Detroit Pistons. Looking at some of Chicago's stats here, Zach LaVine, 30 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. Nikola Vucevic, 29 points, 16 rebounds, 2 assists, so double-double. Thaddeus Young, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Kobe White, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. And I just wanted to ask you, Nate, does the Chicago Bulls team have a chance at making that 10th spot?
I mean, maybe, but a lot of things are gonna have to go right in order for that to happen.
I mean, they are healthy now. I know Zach Levine was not healthy for that little bit. I know Kobe White's been in and out, but I guess with those two in the lineup, Nate, do you think it is possible?
Well, they're still kind of dependent on other teams to play bad as well. So, I mean, I think their record is going to be better, but compared to the other two teams above them, it's going to be hard to say.
Yeah, for sure. And just looking at some of Detroit's stats here, Sadiq Bey, 20 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. Killian Hayes, 21.7 rebounds, 8 assists. Isaiah Stewart, 19.7 rebounds, 3 assists. Saban Lee, 13 points, 1 rebound, 7 assists. And Tyler Cook with 12.6 rebounds and 1 assist. And just getting to you, Terry, this Detroit team's been very disappointing this season. 15th seed in the East, obviously. Um, I guess they're pretty much just looking forward to the draft lottery at this point.
Said just looking forward to the draft lottery, as well as just trying to figure out who to keep for next year. Most of these guys are going to be playing for contracts as we speak.
Yeah, guys like Sadiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart have just been playing really well for them. I guess those guys are pretty much just trying to secure jobs for next year, like you said.
Either that, or I believe they're on rookie contracts. I'm not 1,000% sure with the situation down in Detroit. As mentioned, or I didn't mention this earlier, but they did have a couple of guys injured and sitting out for the rest of the season just due to the fact that they're tanking. Jeremy Grant, I believe Corey Joseph is probably going to be a part of the rotation next year. And I'm not 1,000% sure if Miles Plumlee was out, but I believe he was sitting out as well.
Yeah, there's no reason for those guys to play at this point. They really don't have anything to play for. But I guess a team that does, the LA Lakers, they got a big win on Sunday night, 123 to 110 over the second seed Phoenix Suns. No LeBron James in the lineup for the LA Lakers, and they still put up good amount of points. Just looking at some of their scores, Anthony Davis had pretty much comeback, uh, best game since his comeback, 42 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists. So you got a double double there. Kentavious Caldwell Pope, 17 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Alex Caruso, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists. Montrezl Harrell, 12 points, 3 rebounds. Ben McLemore had 12 points and 1 rebound. And Andre Drummond added 6 points to go with his 10 rebounds and 2 assists. So, Terry, just looking at this Lakers team, do you think they're turning a corner here, or do you think that maybe Phoenix just had sort of a one-off game here?
From what I remember, I believe DeAndre Ayton wasn't getting enough touches inside the paint. I believe he only had 6 points. But with a rotation of Montrezl Harrell, Marc Gasol, Andre Drummond, and basically whoever's at center on the Lakers, I mean, I can expect Ayton to have a bad night. Having said that, they're in the 7th seed right now, and I know for sure that they do not want to be there for the play-in tournament, just due to the fact that some more games taxing on a couple of these vets. Um, Having said that, they just needed to get a win for LeBron, and I guess that's what they got.
Yeah, for sure. And just looking at some of Phoenix's stats here, Mikal Bridges, 15 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. Devin Booker, 21.6 rebounds, 1 assist. Chris Paul, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 10 assists, so double double. And Cameron Payne, 24 points, 1 rebound. Jay Crowder, 13 points and 1 assist. And yeah, like you mentioned, Aiton was quiet. Some of the other players on this team were also quiet. But I want to get to you, Nate, on your thoughts about Phoenix. Was this a one-off game for them? Do you think that maybe they're going to get bullied by some bigger teams in the West in terms of being in the paint? Or just what are your general thoughts on this Phoenix team?
I mean, I think for the in most of the season they've been consistently good. So I think for now we should probably just say this is a one-off game. But I guess kind of like you said, the Lakers are like a, a really tall team, a lot of players that are I guess over 6-8, over 6-9. So it's kind of tough for a lot of teams to keep up with that. Normally, I think teams usually try to outpace them to try to beat them, but I guess it just didn't work out this game.
Yeah, for sure. I also think it's a one-off game for the Suns. They've been so good all year. If they definitely start struggling, then we can maybe have that discussion. But after one game, I don't feel like it's fair to them since they've had a good year. And yeah, just looking at a team that's really trying to get into the play-in, looking at our last game from Sunday, the Sacramento Kings beating the OKC Thunder 126-98. So big win for the Kings. Just looking at some of their stats here. Maurice Harkless, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Marvin Bagley, 13 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. Rashawn Holmes, 15 points, 4 rebounds. Buddy Hield, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Delon Wright, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Terrence Davis, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Damian Jones, 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. And Chimezi Metu had 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. And I just want to get to you, Nate, on this. I know we talked a lot about the Kings not getting depth scoring. Clearly, they did in this game.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying it ever since they made the trades, but the trades that they've made, it looks like they've really worked out.
Yeah, there's a whole leap of double-digit scores here. I remember there were a lot of games they only had like 4 or 3 double-digit scorers, so it was pretty much all the same guys getting the points for them. And then when they weren't on the court, they were just giving up a lot of buckets. So yeah, I think they're really turning the corner in terms of their bench.
Yeah, for sure.
And then just looking at OKC stats here, Darius Baisley had 18 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Moses Brown, 12 points, 9 rebounds. Alexei Pokusevsky had 13 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. Theo Maladin, 13 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Jalen Horde had 16 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. And Svi Maki Haliuk had 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. And just getting to Terry on the Thunder, they've pretty much put their stars to sit for the rest of the year, both Dort and Gilgeous Alexander. So what do you think about this team heading into next season?
Heading into next season, you're just trying to figure out who's going to be a part of that core group of Lou Dort and SGA. Having said that, guys like Darius Paisley have been standing out with these guys. Same with, I believe, Theo Maladin. But today, I believe, was an off day for him. Ty Jerome was injured, and as well as, I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Mike Moustakis, not 1,000% sure about that, but just looking at the rest of the team, Alexi, well, the guys that you were saying before, because I don't want to butcher their names.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Yeah, but those guys are standing out in this rotation of the Thunder right now, and you just hope that these guys are going to come back next year.
Yeah, they have been looking really solid. I know this team definitely isn't the same without Gilgeous Alexander and Lou Dort, but yeah, those are two of their big pieces that they can sort of hope to build around next season. And just moving past the recap, normally we get to our fantasy pickups, but most fantasy seasons are finished. A lot of finals finished either Sunday or they will be coming to a finish this week. So we will not be looking at any pickups for NBA. I think that's mostly finished up. So let's just jump right into sort of our standings outlook first. Nate, I want to start with you here in the East. The big three teams, the 76ers, the Nets, and the Bucks have all clinched their playoff spots. It's really looking like the Knicks are going to do so as well. I know they have 7 wins in their last 10. And then just sort of moving down, I guess between the 4th and 8th seed, I guess which two teams do you think will get stuck in the play-in, and then which of those teams will actually clinch?
I guess maybe the Hornets might end up falling out of the top 8. I don't think the Celtics are going to, so it'll probably just be the Hornets maybe if they end up slipping a little bit.
Yeah, I've noticed the Hornets have been slipping a little bit. They are only 5-5 in their last 10. And yeah, it really looks like the Knicks, the Hawks, and the Heat should clinch soon. The play-in will pretty much be comprised of the four teams that are in there right now: Boston, Charlotte, Washington, and Indiana. But Terry, let me get to you. Do you think Chicago or Toronto? I know they're mathematically still in this play-in, but do you think that they actually have a realistic shot of getting in?
Realistically, I believe the Raptors don't have a chance just due to the fact that they need to win all their games that are left on their schedule. And with the addition of Siakam being out, uh, that percentage just went down even more drastically. With the Bulls, on the other hand, they just got healthy. So now you're just hoping for, if you're a Chicago Bull fan, just hoping for the Pacers to lose a couple more games. I mean, Miles Turner has been a significant part of the Pacers defense. So having said that, they might have trouble trying to stop people getting inside the paint or just trying to go in for an easy layup. So I feel like the Bulls might have a chance, but then they have to hope for a lot of things to go right because they're just, I believe, 3.5 games back of the Pacers now for that 10th spot. So there might be a sliver chance for the Bulls here.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of like Chicago's chances. I think that when healthy, they are a better team than the Pacers are, because I know the Pacers won't have Miles Turner, obviously, and the Pacers have just been giving up way too many points this season. It's just been, tough for them. I know Chicago can put together a better defense, in my opinion, and definitely they have over the course of this season. They've been 4 points better on defense than the Pacers. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking at Chicago as a team that could possibly get in. Definitely their schedule has to be in their favor, and they have to win the games. That's something Chicago has struggled with. Just moving on to the West, four teams have clinched already: the Jazz, the Suns, the Clippers, and the Nuggets. But just looking at the teams below them, the Mavericks, Blazers, Lakers, and Warriors. Terry, I'll get to you on this. Do you think any of these teams will sort of stay where they are? Or do you see some of them dropping? Which teams from those four do you see dropping into the play-in?
From those four teams that are currently from 5 to 8, I believe the Lakers and the Warriors are still going to be inside the play-in tournament, just with 4 games left. Um, Having said that, the Blazers and the Mavericks, they're on winning streaks right now, respectively 3 and 4 each. So having said that, the Lakers need to hope for LeBron to come back on Tuesday, which I believe he's reported to come back against the Kings. And with the Warriors and Stephen Curry's play, I mean, anything's possible at this rate. They play the Jazz, I believe, on Monday. I'm not 1,000% sure. But um, that might be another win. But the Jazz are on a 5-game winning streak.
Yeah, for sure. And Nate, just getting to you, in terms of teams that can still qualify for the play-in, the Pelicans in 11th and the Kings in 12th. I know they're still mathematically in it, but do you think that those two teams, or sorry, a better question would be, which of those two teams have a realistic shot of sort of getting into that play-in over the Spurs?
I mean, if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick the Pelicans if Zion and Ingram were able to come back. But for both of them, it's going to be a long shot, basically.
Yeah, I've sort of felt the same way. Although the Spurs have not been playing their best basketball, yeah, I just really feel like that they will probably finish in that 10th spot, and then they might lose out to the Grizzlies in the play-in. But yeah, I think the West seems to be a little bit more concrete than the East. I don't know, Terry, do you have any other thoughts sort of on the West play-in?
As Nathan said, the Pelicans have the best shot just due to the fact that the Spurs schedule is tough if you look at it. I believe there's a game against the Nets, 2 games against the Suns if they do play it, and maybe a game against the Knicks, not 1,000% sure, but comparing that to the Pelicans, the last four, I believe the Pelicans might slip into that 10th spot.
Yeah, it is possible. Getting Ingram back is definitely a must for this team. Whether Zion comes back or not, we'll have to see. Um, But yeah, just getting to you, Nate. Any other thoughts on either the standings, the play-in, or just an outlook on the playoffs?
Well, I'm depressed that the Raptors probably won't make it.
Yeah, it's been a long year full of injuries. I mean, they haven't played a game in Toronto the whole season, so that's probably one of the other big factors for them not winning a lot of games. So when you don't have your traditional home crowd, it can take a tough toll on the team.
Yeah, they've had a really rough season, so hopefully they'll be able to come back next season a lot stronger.
Yeah, and that's assuming they get to play at home in Toronto. And just getting to you, Terry, any other last thoughts, whether it's standings, play-in, or playoffs?
Nothing at the moment. Everything seems somewhat concrete down in the West with the East. That 10th spot looks a little bit suspicious between the Bulls and the Pacers at this rate.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest question mark in terms of which teams will get into the top 10. And then in terms of, I guess, just the seeding, it could pretty much go any different way.
Exactly.
All right. And just moving into our preview for Monday's slate, um, let's just start off with the first game here. The Washington Wizards at the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks are favored by 8 points. Um, just starting with you, Terry. Who do you like in this matchup?
Kind of like the Washington Wizards coming for this matchup, just due to the fact that they want to create more separation between, I believe, it's that 10 spot that the Pacers are holding down. And they might want to get that Hornets 8th spot just due to the fact that they only have to win one game now, if that's the case. The Hawks really are just playing for positioning against the Knicks to see if they can get home court advantage in that first round. But aside from that, I believe Washington has more to gain from this win.
Yeah, I feel like that Washington could keep it close, but I'm not entirely sure about them winning. I know they don't have Bradley Beal in this game. Nate, let me get to you on that. Do you think that 8 points is enough for the Hawks to cover, or do you think the Wizards are going to keep it close?
I feel like the Wizards still should keep it close, but it kind of depends who's in for the Hawks.
Yeah, I think the Hawks should be mostly healthy. The Wizards are just missing Bradley Beal. 8 points seems about right where it might end up. Maybe over or under that is going to be close, but yeah, definitely a game to watch out for. I do think the Hawks should still win this, but I guess the way the Wizards have been playing, I guess you just never know.
Maybe we might see Westbrook play like a crazy game.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. He's been playing really solid lately. I could easily see a triple double here. Um, just moving into the next matchup, the Indiana Pacers at the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Pacers are favored by 8.5 points. I'll start with you, Nate. Do you think the Pacers should be able to cover that pretty easily, or do you think the Cavs can keep it close?
Um, I think the Pacers should be able to, I guess, cover anything against the Cavs.
Yeah, the Cavs have just not been. I mean, they're 0-10, both up outright and against the spread in their last 10 games. They just really haven't been playing well. And Terry, I guess you probably feel the same way about this game.
Yes.
Yeah, there's really not much to say. This Pacers team is just much better than Cleveland. And then just moving into the next matchup, it's a big matchup with playoff implications here. The New Orleans Pelicans at the Memphis Grizzlies. Just taking a look at the spread here, the Grizzlies are favored by 9 points. I do believe that the Pelicans will be without some players. Just taking a look here, but who do you think should have the advantage here? I believe both Ingram and Zion are not in the lineup.
Nathan, you want to go first?
Sure. Um, I think if Zion and Ingram in, they might be able to pull an upset. But with, I think, either of them out, it's going to be really tough.
And then you, Terry?
Just looking at the Memphis team right now, I mean, the only injuries they probably have that are significant to the rotation are Grayson Allen, but they can easily just get the same production coming out of Desmond Bain, maybe even Justice Winslow. when you look at New Orleans, on the other hand, they are suffering a lot of injuries in the front court, whether it's Josh Hart or the two significant players, whether it's Zion or Brandon Ingram. Plus, on the other hand, you got Steven Adams out. I feel like Memphis has a better chance just due to the fact that they're more healthy. But remember, the Pelicans are fighting for that 10th seed against the Spurs right now.
I mean, the Pelicans did play the night before. I feel like the Grizzlies can pretty much capitalize on that. And then due to the fact that the lineup isn't complete, so I definitely do like the Grizzlies in this matchup. And then just moving on to the next one, we have the Milwaukee Bucks at the San Antonio Spurs. The Bucks are favored by 7 points. Terry, I'll start with you on this since your favorite team is the San Antonio Spurs as well. The Spurs have sort of been very inconsistent. Like they'll keep it close with like tough teams, but they'll get blown out by teams that aren't as tough. So what do you see in this game in terms of a spread or an outlook?
The outlook, well, as you said, they're inconsistent. Derek White's out. Having said that, they don't have their main scorer outside of DeMar DeRozan. And you're just looking to fill in spots between Derek White. Having said that, Lonnie Walker is a little bit less inconsistent. Some days he's going to have 7 points. Some days he's going to have 24. But this is Giannis and the Bucks we're talking about here. You might see the Spurs take a loss tonight just due to the fact that the Spurs do not have that answer for a guy like Giannis just yet developed.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely agree with that. And then Nate, getting to you, how do you feel about this game?
I guess the Bucks are kind of like a more reliable option. You know that the Bucks are gonna play really well every game, but for the Spurs, it's always a question. So I guess I would take the Bucks.
Yeah, I think the Bucks should be able to pull out the win. Whether they cover or not, that's definitely the question. But yeah, the Bucks clearly are the better team. And just looking at the next game here, Utah Jazz against the Golden State Warriors. Utah will be without Mike Conley for this game. Nate, I'll start with you here. I still like the Jazz as an all-around team, but I guess with Steph Curry, you never know. So who do you like here?
I guess I guess I'll kind of go with the Jazz.
And Terry, how about you? Do you think Utah can win, or do you like Golden State here?
Conley out and Donovan Mitchell out. I feel like the Golden State Warriors might pull off this one here just due to the fact that you can only have Jordan Clarkson on the court for so long before you need to give him some rest. Yes, you have options like Joe Ingles or even Royce O'Neal to probably do some of the ball handling duties, but this is Stephen Curry we're talking about. You can probably put down 35 points and then he'll still find a way to make his team win.
Yeah, for sure. And then just looking at the final game, the Rockets at the Trailblazers. This one's pretty much in the bag. Like, let's just be real about it. We already know who's going to win this. The spread is minus 15. I don't usually like minus 15 spreads. I think that Houston will be able to keep it closer than that. But yeah, I think just starting with you, Terry, this is Portland's game.
It is Portland's game. It's just a tune-up game for these guys, just so they can hopefully. Who are they behind in the standings? The Mavericks.
They're behind Dallas, yeah.
Yeah. So at this rate, they're just trying to get to that 5th seed so they can play the Nuggets, because the Clippers in the playoffs, they're more defensive-minded, and I feel like they might match up better with the Nuggets. But that's just my opinion.
And then Nate, I guess you feel the same thing. Portland should be able to take this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. And that's going to be the end of our big time basketball episode. Thanks again, guys, for joining me in this episode. And I guess just follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FanFan Podcast. We'll have picks there. And we had been posting the pickups during the season for fantasy. So definitely check us out. And then check out the podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Like, subscribe, share, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a review, all that good stuff. And yeah, that's going to be the end of this big time basketball episode. Thanks again, guys, and we'll talk to you guys on the next episode.